Okay, how did I do this piece? Well, the original reason I did this is because my students and I were studying glass artist, and because I could not do glass in my studio with my students, I decided instead, because I was already using plastic, to take and use a plastic bottle. And so what I did is I painted the pop bottle, a large pop bottle, and I painted it kind of an iridescent. Actually, it was just paint left over from a project that I just wanted. I really didn't want to waste the paint. So I painted the bottle. I thought, well, okay, I can always cut it and make jewelry out of the piece. But when I cut the bottle, I cut the top part of the bottle, and then after the paint was dry, I cut the top part of the bottle, and then I just cut the strips down to the base. So as you can see, there's strips. Okay? So then I was drying the strips, and as I was drying the strips, I noticed that they started curling. And so I took the heat gun and I started controlling how I was creating the curl. Now, of course, I didn't have complete control, but I had enough control to where I could actually control some of the little strips and how they curled a little bit. I actually used a dowel to keep them from going too far. And so that's how I did this one. But I have another one. I have another one that I thought was really interesting. This is actually much more organic. And as you can see, it looks like something from the ocean, I think. And I really love this look. It's more wild and free. And here I did not control anything. I just allowed the process to work all by itself. And I think it's kind of cool. Actually, I like this. I like the wildness look. The wild look. It looks like some seaweed or something that grows underneath the ocean. And this one here was a different method. I cut the bottom off of a water bottle, and after I painted it, of course, and again, I just used the heat gun to just kind of let it form by itself. And again, I think it looks like a really gorgeous piece of glass. If you didn't know it was plastic, you would think it was glass. And when you put these in the window, they do look very much like glass. And now this is interesting. This is actually another, I think this is a small, it's probably a small pop bottle. Anyway, what I did with this one is I painted it more opaque. This is more opaque, but I did layer a lot. And it's actually really interesting, actually. I think it's interesting. It kind of looks like a very unusual little jar or something. Anyway, I like the look of it. It's covered with different kinds of paint, layered, and it's got copper and green and blue and gold, and I just think it's kind of cool. And if you didn't know this was plastic, you would think it was glass. And who knows, maybe someday, way, way in the future, when people find these things, they will think that they are also artifacts. Like we find things and we put them into museums. They will someday find these, because plastic, of course, never deteriorates. It never goes back to the earth. It will be found by somebody, and who knows what they'll think. Anyway, I enjoyed doing that. Because I was already into plastic, I also did this piece. And this is I think it's like a bottom of a plastic container that I was using for paint, and the kids were working with iridescent paint, and I just melted it. You see? You can tell it's like the bottom of a plastic container of some sort. Now this container has a harder surface, so of course it melted differently than the other one. Different than the pop bottles or the water bottles. But I think this again looks like something from the sea. And I made this into a necklace. And my husband came back from China, and he brings back all kinds of stuff for me to take apart and use in my jewelry. And so there was a pendant on the end of it. And I just didn't particularly care for that particular pendant. It was too heavy. So I combined this piece of jewelry with this necklace piece. I just think it's cool. Actually, it looks like it goes together. And I think it's neat. Anyway, this is some of my stuff that I have created for the boutique that I'm doing. I have a lady that is interested in my pins, and so I'm making some for the boutique. And it all started from, number one, it started from me working with plastic and doing jewelry from the plastic, and also really being involved with the pin swap. And so it's funny how it's wonderful and magical the way creativity works. One thing just adds to another, And I think that's the wonderful part of creativity. This is one of my necklaces that I did. I think I'm going to leave it as a pendant, because even though the pins are great, there are some people that really love the pendants. So, this is an example. And this is an example of my studio, and this is where I teach. I'm teaching a mixed media class for adults, both in collage and journaling, and also I have a lady who's actually making her own journal. I'll show you that. She is actually doing her own journal, and she has used fabric, and this is paper fabric. So that means that the fabric is bounded with the paper, and it becomes one. And it's a method of using watered down acrylics and watered down glue, and you just collage right on the fabric to get this really cool effect. And she's doing this